Good afternoon, I'm Doug Herbert in the CFJC TV News Center with the B100 News First update to 3 o'clock. Canadian Pacific says negotiations with its striking employees have stalled. The railway company says the mediator withdrew this afternoon, leaving the door open for the government to table legislation to end the 5-day-old strike. Labour Minister Lisa Raitt warned last week the government is prepared to introduce back-to-work legislation as early as tomorrow if CP and the Teamsters Canada Rail Conference, which represents workers at CP, can't reach a deal. Raitt says she will likely decide tonight whether to introduce it tomorrow when the House resumes from a week's recess. About 4,800 unionized CP workers walked off the job Wednesday, halting the company's freight train service across the country. The leader of the BC Conservative Party toured the interior this weekend, connecting with supporters in Salmon Arm, Clearwater and Cache Creek. In an interview with CFJC, John Cummins revealed his views on the BC treaty process currently underway with 60 First Nations. Cummins says First Nations people have special rights to hunting and fishing, but says Aboriginal land claims are costing the province too much money and aren't sustainable.
If the province is not owned by the people of British Columbia, and I mean all of the people of British Columbia, then what's the purpose of the legislature? What's the purpose of a Minister of Forestries or a Minister of Mines if we have to go to the local Indian band to get permission to proceed with a project? It just makes absolutely no sense.
Chief Shane Godfredson of the Tk'emlúps Indian Band says he doesn't agree with Cummins and says his band seeks to create partnerships, not divisions.
Aboriginal title and rights is, born upon us First Nations people, and it's something that we never ceded, surrendered, or gave up. So, I don't really necessarily agree with Mr. Cummings' remarks.
Godfredson says his band members are common people that want to make common change to better themselves and get out of poverty. He says his people have had to deal with leaders like John Cummins throughout history, and he's not too worried about what he says. Meantime, Kamloops South Thompson MLA Kevin Kruger is firing back at claims made by John Cummins this weekend. Cummins said the BC Liberals would place third in next May's provincial election. Kruger says the only thing Cummins will do is ensure the election of the BC NDP.
He failed to get traction in Chilliwack or any other by-election. If he couldn't win in Chilliwack, he can't win anywhere, and all that he can do is split off votes from the coalition, which will be government if he doesn't do that.
Kruger says his party is made up of federal Conservatives and Liberals, and Cummins' desire to destroy it will only hurt the province. Bike to Work Week gets rolling tomorrow morning in Kamloops with 84 teams registered to take part. Kamloops City Councillors Donovan Cavers, Nancy Beppel, and Arjun Singh have put together a team, and they're all involved. Cavers says he may have an advantage as a regular cyclist, but has been working on getting Mayor Peter Millibar to ride from his house to City Hall.
I'm hoping that he'll go one way. The river does flow from Valley View down to the downtown, so it's a little bit better than flat. So I'm hoping that he can pull off one direction one day of the week, but we'll see.
Cavers says Bike to Work Week is a great way to see how the cycling infrastructure has improved in the tournament capital. He points to the long-awaited bike overpass at the Valley View interchange as a good example of work the city has done. In sports, rider Hejidal is the first Canadian to win the Giro d'Italia. The Victoria native overcame Joaquin Rodriguez on the final day. He says he's going to savor the victory.
It's just incredible. Once I started to see my name, the list of the other riders that have accomplished this and everything, it's pretty amazing. So I'm just enjoying it right now, and I think it'll sink in for some time.
Hejidal also becomes the first Canadian to ride to victory in any of the 3 professional Grand Tour races. The Stanley Cup Final doesn't get underway until Wednesday, but hockey fans still have the MasterCard Memorial Cup. The host Shawinigan Cataracts will take on the London Knights in today's championship game. London hasn't played since Tuesday after getting a bye to the final. Shawinigan has played 4 games in 5 nights, including a tiebreaker and the semifinal. In basketball, the Western Conference Final kicks off in the NBA tonight. The San Antonio Spurs host the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 1. San Antonio is on an 18-game winning streak. The Thunder, meanwhile, have only lost once so far in the playoffs. I'm Doug Herbert. Weather's next.
Christy Clark's first caucus meeting as Premier-designate has wrapped up in Vancouver. And as NW's Doug Herbert reports, MLAs are calling it a success.
I think today was fantastic. We had the opportunity to hear from our new Premier.
I thought it was a wonderful caucus meeting today.
Today went very well. Obviously, I had left caucus some time ago. Today, I spoke with my colleagues and came back.
The last voice was Blair Leckstroms, who rejoined caucus after leaving it over the handling of the HST. Clark says she's glad he's back.
I'm delighted he's back. I think it is a great change in our caucus again to have him back with us.
Clark says the caucus chair is in talks with Bill Bennett about returning to the fold. She says they're working through the details of moving up the HST referendum date, and she wants to hold a by-election quickly. Doug Herbert, CKNW, News Talk 980, Vancouver. The video doesn't show the interaction between Officer Ian Burke and Aboriginal woodcarver John T. Williams, but the audio paints a vivid picture.
Hey! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
Officer Ian Burke opened fire on Williams August 30th when the man was walking and apparently carving wood in downtown Seattle. Relatives of the island man say he was deaf in one ear and may not have heard the officer's commands. Claims have also been made that police photos of the man's knife show it wasn't open. Last month, Burke was told to surrender his gun and badge. A shooting inquest is scheduled for January. Doug Herbert, CKNW, News Talk 980, Vancouver.